Hello, everyone. Quick heads up before we start today's episode. The Global Agile Summit is happening on May the 4th. Yes, May the 4th, and even with a big blowout Star Wars party, you have to join. It will be online, and it's, like always, free to attend. We have 4 tracks this year that I'm really excited about, and I think you will too. Stick around to the end of the episode to know what they are. If you want to check it out already now, you can check it out at bit.ly/Global Agile 26. That's the numerals 2 and 6 at the end. So one more time, that's bit.ly/Global Agile 26. All one word, all lowercase, and 2 and 6 are the numerals 2 and 6. So stick around till the end of the episode and I'll tell you what's in store. But for now, on to today's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to one more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. And this week, we have with us, joining us from the Netherlands, Viktor Glinka. Hey, Viktor. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Vasco. Thank you for having me here today. Hi, everyone.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. And let me tell you a little bit about Viktor, who is an organizational consultant and professional Scrum Master who helps teams and leaders find simpler ways to deliver value while keeping the human side of work at the center, which is so topical these days with AI. He's practical, curious, and focused on real outcomes rather than buzzwords. And his true passion is adaptability, both in business as well as in personal life. So, Viktor, that was a short intro. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you end up becoming a Scrum Master?
Well, it was a long time ago. Back then, I studied computer science, but I didn't actually want to become a developer. So instead, I moved to project management. So I've been suffering a lot. And people around me were suffering a lot. Just a quick example. We developed a mobile phone intended to be used by public officials. But in the end, it was totally useless. And I thought, how come could we spend so much money and in the end this product is not being used? So with that in mind, I started experimenting with shortening feedback loops, with talking to customers directly, with giving team more ownership on what they are doing. So I just told them, guys, we need to build that and that. How do you see that? So I did things that people around me never did at that point of time. So I thought, okay, what's next? I like it. Actually, I like that part of my job very much. And I got myself into organizational development course where I studied how actually organizations are being developed, how to build a resilient and adaptive organization. And that's the first time I have heard about Agile. And that's immediately clicked. And I thought, this is what I would like to do. And with my experience in project management and IT project and with that education, I positioned myself as a Scrum Master and find my first job in a finance organization. Yeah.
Okay, very good. That's a great story. That first-person encounter with a product that the team felt good and passionate about, but the customers didn't touch. And I'm sure many of our Scrum Masters out there have felt at one point in their careers the same. But that's a product failure. We don't always have only product failures. Sometimes we ourselves fail, and that's okay because we all learn from it. And that's what we want to focus on, of course. So, Viktor, share with us that moment for you as a Scrum Master where you did your best, but at that time, the best just wasn't good enough. So tell us the story. We'll dive into the takeaways and the lessons learned later, but tell us the story first.
Yeah. Before I tell you the story, I'd like to point out that the best lessons in my life, and I'm sure people around me did the same, I've learned from my failures. And the story I'm about to tell you is about, I would say, the biggest failure that happened at the beginning of my journey as a Scrum Master. So, as Scrum Masters, we should constantly balance between how we think should go and how the system is actually going, what the system is ready for. By system, I mean the organization or the team we work with. So I was working in a finance organization, as I told you before. I was assigned as a Scrum Master to a newly created department. And it was my first experience ever in a scaled setup. So before that, I worked just with one team. And in that setup, each team owned a particular part of the user journey, had its own product owner. So we all know that dynamics. And after some time, it became clear to me that this component-based structure was not really optimal.
You mean when you say component-based structure, you mean that the teams were organized around components?
Absolutely, yes. I'm talking about teams that were organized by components and certain parts of the user journey. And around the same time, I got exposed to large-scale Scrum through colleague Scrum Master from a neighboring organization. And I got excited, too excited. I would say overexcited about less. And what I did, I pushed for structural changes, and I became very eager to implement less for the sake of less, and convinced that that was really the right direction.
So tell me a little bit more. Like when you say implement less for the sake of less, give me an example of what that sounded like at the time.
What it sounded so. Besides teams, I also closely worked with the head of department. So we interacted on a daily basis. And every day I was telling him that the current team composition, the current organizational structure is wrong. And we need to develop future teams. By future teams, I mean teams that are able to finish any element of the product backlog. And you know what? My mistake was that I was disconnected from reality at that time, and I completely missed the point. For this particular organization, even having a partially cross-functional teams was already a big stretch, was already a big step forward.
So what you're describing, if I understand you correctly, is that you saw something that clicked, that made sense for you, and
Absolutely.
You started, for lack of a better word, you started pushing that onto an organization, and then later on realized that, hey, but we could have benefited even from, I don't know, like 10% of the distance instead of trying to go the whole distance. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I wanted to change the organization overnight with my eagerness and passion. You know what? I'm still passionate about less. My current assignment includes less transformation, but now I do it differently. So back to the story. Yeah. So what happened? As I said, that was quite a stretch for them because they moved from individual work to teams work. And I also lost a point that this head of department wasn't authorized to make these changes I was pushed for.
But so that led to a lot of frustration.
And resistance. So the point in the story is resistance. So instead of helping system to evolve, I created a resistance. I became a problem myself. And what was actually needed at that moment, is to stabilize what they have achieved, acknowledge good things, acknowledge the progress, and reflect whether it worked well for them or not. And what specifically proves that I was wrong at that point of time. That department received Houston European Award for being the best mortgage department. You see? So it took me a few more years and similar cases to fully digest that experience, to become more patient and become more sensitive to the people around, to the system, to its abilities, to its pace.
So for me, what I hear in this story is the difficulty of figuring out where to poke and where to wait. Because, I mean, you said something which is very important. We all need to be patient, especially the more passionate we are, the more patience we need, obviously, because that's the contrast. But when I think about that story, I also see missed opportunities. I also see the lack of fulfilling the potential. And from what you just described about that department getting an award, I also see the lack of internal reflection on how things could be so much better. So I hear you about the patience, but then I want to ask, okay, but how do you know these days, based on your experience and all of those other stories, when it's a good time to be patient and when it's a good time to poke a little bit more?
I don't know. I think over time I have developed some sort of gut feeling, or say intuition. It's just you sense, you read the room, and of course, I do a lot of systems analysis. So I do it with people around me, with fellow Scrum Masters, with managers. So we reflect on what's actually going on at the moment, what the current organizational dynamics are, and based on that, we plan certain interventions together. So I approach it differently rather than pushing for changes by myself. Like, I want this large-scale Scrum in our organization. I approach people around me, especially decision makers, and I stimulate their thinking, stimulate their reflection, what they think would be a good step forward at the moment.
Absolutely. And that reflection is very important for us to know when to poke and when to wait. Viktor, thank you very much for sharing that story.
Yeah, good.
Hi there, friends. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the episode. So let me tell you what's coming. On May 4th, we're running the Global Agile Summit. It will be online, and I want you there. This year, we have 4 tracks, and each one is built around real conversations with practitioners. No slides, no keynote theater, just honest interviews with people doing the work, just like you. The first track is AI in Organizations, where practitioners show what actually works. No hype, just AI that makes your Monday better. Happy Monday, everybody. And then we have the people track. Honest conversations about putting humans at the center of how we work and keeping them there. And third is Agile in Construction. And yes, I really mean brick and mortar construction. Lean and Agile actual job sites. Field leaders removing waste, teams transforming how buildings get built. Stay tuned for what I think will be a super track on Agile in Construction. And the fourth track is Agile in Gaming, how game studios ship without burning out. Agile inside the creative pressure cooker. Over the years, we've had more than 12,000 participants since 2017, the time of the first summit organized with the podcast. And this year, we're making it easier than ever to join. You can register for free and get access to the summit sessions live during the event week. That's May 4th to May 6th. Or you can grab the practitioner pass and get immediate access to last year's keynotes from Jürgen Appelo, Gojko Adzic, and Mirete Kangas. Right now, even before the summit starts. So grab your practitioner pass and start learning today. head on over to bit.ly/Global Agile 26. That's 26, the numerals 2 and 6. Sign up, and I'll see you on May the 4th. And one more time, here we go, bit.ly/Global Agile 26. All lowercase, all one word, and 26, that's the numeral 2 and the numeral 6. I'll see you on the conference floor.